Last Friday, the prestigious medical journal The Lancet published a stunning news headline: New Zealand eliminates COVID-19. In the piece, health journalist Sophie Cousins reported that the country had ended community transmission of SARS-CoV-2 and recorded its first day of no new COVID-19 cases early last week, about a month after it had started its aggressive lockdown. To the non-technical ear, this description of New Zealand's very specific milestone may have seemed at odds with the way we usually think about elimination. Using the common definition of the word would suggest that the virus was completely wiped out from the island nation. But the Lancet headline used elimination in the epidemiological sense, which means a very different thing, as I'll explain below. The words eradication and extinction, which I hope we'll be seeing in the news soon, are also used by epidemiologists to talk about infectious disease in very specific ways. The following definitions were put forth by former CDC Deputy Director Dr. Walt Dowdle in a document for the CDC in 1999, though there's plenty of nuanced scientific debate about how these terms are defined. Elimination. Eliminating COVID-19 means that the incidence of new cases in a defined geographical region has been reduced to zero as a result of deliberate efforts. Notably, Dowdle writes, continued intervention measures are required. More on this later. Eradication. Eradicating COVID-19 means that the worldwide incidence of COVID-19 infection has been reduced to zero as a result of deliberate efforts. Intervention measures, says Dowdle, are no longer needed. Extinction. For COVID-19 to be considered extinct, the SARS-CoV-2 virus would have to cease existing anywhere in nature or in a laboratory. One reason why defining these terms is so contentious is because of what they mean for public health intervention. David L. Heyman, the WHO's Assistant Director General for Health Security and Environment, argued in 2006 that the way Dowdle defined eradication was insufficient because it incorrectly emphasized that interventions were no longer needed. Once a disease is eradicated, Heyman writes, it's imperative to continue public health efforts so it doesn't re-emerge. This may seem like a lot of quibbling over small details, but the way public health officials talk about infectious disease is vitally important in ensuring the public acts appropriately. After all, people will act very differently if they believe the virus no longer exists, compared to how they might behave if they understood there were merely no new COVID-19 cases in their region. In New Zealand, Michael Baker, a professor of public health at the University of Otago and an advisor to the government, told The Lancet that how the country communicates the concept of elimination will be important going forwards. Susie Wiles, an associate professor at the University of Auckland, said it was important to clearly explain elimination to citizens because we don't want the public to feel like they are being lied to. As more nations successfully rein in the spread of COVID-19, New Zealand's careful approach to communicating to the public will become increasingly important to watch and learn from. Meanwhile, the country will continue work to maintain its eliminated status, true to Dowdle's definition of the term.